And we are live here for the CFR Championship podcast here on YouTube. Now, I'm going to be joined by two guests today. Well, not guests. One of them is a regular, and the other one is a guest. First time here on the podcast, Jesse Gavey and Derek Pemberton. Y'all both there?
Yes, sir.
Always.
All right, guys. We'll start this off kind of simple. Last night we went to Michigan. And Dalton Collins, we'll start off with him first. Picked up his first win in the CFR Championship last night, part of Driven Motorsports, after holding off Tyler Cox late in that restart. The biggest concern was, Jesse, it's going to be your friend to talk about, is the weather. A lot of people, and both of you all included, raced in really, I guess you could say, warmer track temps. Last night was only 73-degree air temp with overcast skies. I think it only made for like 78-degree track temps. And at Michigan, it caused a lot of trouble just because of close action or close side-by-side racing instead of people spacing out and actually racing. So, Jesse, give me your thoughts on how your race went. I know it wasn't how you wanted, but give me your thoughts on how everything went.
Overall, the race went okay at best. I got caught up in a couple situations that I wouldn't have liked to find myself in, but did, so we're going to have to move on from this week and, look forward to Pocono.
Yeah, there was a lot of issues, I guess you could say. We'll get to that here in just a minute. 9 cautions for 36 laps. Now, Derek, you started a little bit a little bit back as well, but you actually finished right behind Jesse in 16th. How would you sum up your race and how everything went?
Well, overall, the race was kind of decent. I mean, I got caught up in that first or second incident I got involved in, and I was down majorly on power. And, of course, having all those yellows helped me get everything, kind of back, and I was still pretty down on power for most of the race. So, I mean, overall, I didn't mind seeing all the yellows. I kind of enjoyed it because I was still able to pick up spots just from being able to stay out. But overall, I think the race went kind of how I was expecting it to go. I mean, I knew that having so many cars out on the track like that, and especially with the way the weather was, it was just too many cars, I think, in that kind of track with the racing as close as it was projected to be based on the weather. I think it was just a little bit too much, but I mean, I think we did good right there at the end at being able to, have several good green flag runs right there near toward the end.
Yeah, the last part of that race was really good. So one thing we wanted to bring to the CFR podcast, and the reason why I guess people really like it, is we're trying to bring more drama and stuff, and we're not going to shy away from it here at all. Dalton Collins, Tyler Cox made his return last night. They got into it, for people that don't know, Friday night in the Super Late Model Friday Night Light Series League. Jesse, we'll start with you. How do you think Tyler handled himself not only on his return, but racing Dalton as well?
I think he definitely handled it very well, very professional, I think. Yeah, I think he did an excellent job at it. And
well, let me ask you this. Would you have moved Dalton?
Absolutely.
All right. That's all I need to know. Derek, let's go to you. How do you think Tyler handled his, same question to you. How do you think Tyler handled himself, and would you have moved Dalton?
Based on Tyler's situation and how he's sitting with the probation and everything, I think he handled it the correct way. And I think if he would have had that happen 10 more times, or 9 more times, I think he would have done the same thing every single time. And I think he did the right decision overall. But on me, on the other hand, I would have probably moved him more than likely. Because, I mean, you can only... The way the racing was, I mean, people were chopping everyone all over the track, even in the front, even in the back. And if that was me up in that front and I was having a leader do that with 5-6 laps to go, yeah, he probably would have been moved.
I agree. Looking back, I can't say because I don't race. I'm just a broadcaster of it. But, as an owner of the team that Tyler drives in, and I'm going to be completely honest with people, and I know that we got sponsors listening and stuff like that, so I'm not going to use the words that I probably should use to make it professional anyway. When people say Tyler Cox is a dirty racer, really pisses me off. I'm just going to be honest. You've seen it last night that he's not. And I don't know if you two agree, but I think it shows that he can be one of the cleanest racers out there because he had multiple times if he wanted to turn Dalton. And he chose not to. Would you both agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what we saw at Sonoma was...
It wasn't right. I mean, what he did was
Yeah,
wrong. I mean, we can't
absolutely.
justify that at all.
But if you look at the rest of the regular season so far, I mean, there hasn't really been any just incidents with Tyler really racing dirty at all. So I mean,
Yeah.
no surprise to see him race clean. I just think with it being Sonoma and the different beast that it is, I think it brings out a little bit different side to everybody. Yeah, it's exactly like Bristol.
Right. Derek, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a whole lot of explanation for it. Just, I mean, I think honestly, it just all came down to really how everything played out for him. I think honestly, I mean, I really don't have a whole lot to say to that, but kind of based off that last question, I guess you could say.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, I don't know. Maybe just as a team owner in general of over CFR, we got multiple people that run the league that's in it. And then, not only that, he's in my team. And then when I see people, posting constantly, not only on YouTube, but Facebook, and saying that they know he's dirty. Me personally, I've never had a dirty race with him. He's only wrecked me one time.
He talks.
He talks more. He's got more bark. Yeah.
That's just it. People think just by talking, you're automatically going to go out and do something. And that's where Tyler, he's matured enough. I think he knows where that line is. Yeah, he'll talk the big talk, and honestly, it's a strategic decision, and it's working because it's getting people scared. He's going to talk. He's going to rough you up by his words. And I mean, that's one thing as other drivers that
with that real fast. And I want you to speak on this. I know you're talking about that now. Is there, for example, Sonoma? Is there going too far with your words? And taking it too far. I mean, this is a video game sim.
Yes.
Is there a point where you're taking it too far, even though there's money on the line and stuff like that?
I don't think that there is a exact limit as to how far you can go with that. Just, I mean, you got to think honestly the context of how it's all taken. And I think what happened at Sonoma, yes, he was pissed. And the way he went about it, he was showing everyone that he didn't like the way he was raced. Yes, did he go a little bit too much, dropping all the words he did? Yes. But I think if any of us were in that situation, we all would have done it, regardless of who we are and how we act. I just don't think there's a limit as to how, because I mean, no one really thought Tyler was going to win that race, and for him to get that far up there, that late in the race, and giving Joe a run for his money, yeah, I mean, I would be, I mean, you couldn't even control me how angry I would be if something like that happened to me.
Me personally, I think maybe Jesse can elaborate on this as well. I think he took it too far at Sonoma. We know he did. He finished second. You can't complain. I mean, you finished second, and you're complaining like what he did. And we talked about this last week, but there's a lot of guys in this league that's really, really respectful. Jesse being one of them guys. He knows what and who's watching. With sponsors in the league, such as Living Aquarium, we don't want to represent their name on our brand, I guess you could say, into a bad rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that makes sense all in all that, we don't want to give out a bad name. But then again, I mean, and of course, this isn't promoting, using that kind of, attitude toward anything. But like, I mean, you got to show that, yeah, you're upset. And did he go too far showing that? Just slightly. Not a whole lot. And just, I mean, thing is that we're trying to build up, like you said, kind of like how this podcast is trying to build up drama, I guess.
It built it up.
And again, like I said earlier, he did it strategically.
What's your thoughts? How? You're going to have to wait a minute, buddy.
Well, here's our third person.
Yeah. Anyway, Jesse, what's your thoughts on that one?
Sorry, what was the question? I kind of got.
It's alright, we'll continue on because Hal randomly
Yeah.
pops in. And it got me all confused too. Alright, so we'll move on from that. We will talk about some other things instead of focus on just one driver. There was also some good drivers that came in last night, had a really good run. Mike Bruno, I was not really surprised there. Justin Krasinski, a new driver, came in, finishes fourth. Very, very good run. Kyle Charpentier, a new member to AC Motorsports, finishes fifth. Dawson Cook, Brian Long, another good run by him. Tyler Justice, David Phillips, and Jonathan Smith. So, Jesse, this question's for you. We just mentioned we like to talk about drama. What happened between you and Tyler Justice?
I'm not really too sure because I was on the outside line of it, so I'm not really sure what his view was, and I haven't really had a good look at the replays yet. Just been
What is your view of it? And you can be honest.
Yeah, personally, I just think he didn't let out. I had the run on the outside off, but he wanted to try and take his car all the way up to the wall, and I don't know if he realized I was there or not, but I'm pretty sure he did because he got under me going into one.
So that's safe to say that you're angry about it.
Oh, absolutely. And,
Okay.
Not gonna lie, you better watch that. Did I say that?
All right. So next week we have this week off. I do think it's a very much needed off week.
Definitely.
With the Super Bowl and stuff, I think it's just honestly much needed. And then we go on our long run. I think the longest of the season. We head to Pocono. Actually, we just finished up practice at Pocono 2 minutes ago. Right before we started this podcast, the practice was finishing up. Jesse, what's your thoughts going in? I mean, we found out what temps we're running. We're going to be running hot track temps. For people who don't know, we are running fixed weather for the next race. 78-degree air temp, which is around 98-degree, I think, track temp. So, Jesse, what's your thoughts on running a hot track?
It's going to be a lot better, I think. We're going to see a lot more driver skill come into play than just flat-footing it around, a 1.5 mile, 2 mile oval. It's going to be...
How do you expect? What do you think? I know what you're expecting. You're always expecting to win. If you're a driver and you don't expect to win, then you probably shouldn't be racing. In reality, for you, what would make you satisfied with your performance next Sunday?
Right now, after the last few weeks I had, I just need a good solid top 5 finish, really, in all honesty. I just need to get some momentum back and then start looking at winning races from there.
Derek, same question for you. What do you think? Do you like the track change with the temps? You're sitting, let me look at the points right now and see. 14th in points. Now, you actually lost one spot, which was kind of not good. We'll go over points here in a minute, but what is your expectations going to Pocono? We just got out of the practice, like I said. You've shown that you do got speed. So what's going to be your expectations?
I mean, of course, these past few weeks, I don't want to say that the way I've been driving hasn't been good. I mean, I've just been outside the top 10, I think, in every single race this year, which for someone like me, that's kind of upsetting to have people, talk about, hey, you're getting better, but I'm not seeing the results come out of it yet. And that kind of hurts. And I just think I need a top 10 underneath my belt. I only got one last season, and that was, I think,
what was that?
was actually, I think it was either Michigan or Homestead.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And coming into Michigan, I had so many high hopes, and when that didn't come out, that hurt. And so now I'm just looking just to get a top 10 now, honestly, because I got to get to the top 10 in points, and right now that just looks extremely hard for me to do if I don't start having a overhaul of points.
There are some good drivers right now in the top 10. Michael Redding being on the cut line, Tyler Cox working his way back into the top 10. Now in 9th, Jesse's in 8th. We'll start from the top, actually. Mike Bruno, Dawson Cook, Kyle Charpentier is your top 3. Joe Burchett lost 3 spots. He was up there. However, he only got a provisional because he was out of town, so he didn't get to race this past weekend. Might be a good news for a lot of people, but it kind of hurt him a little bit. I don't think he has too much worried about right now in 4th. Robert Land didn't change nothing. That was another one that didn't show up, but he didn't lose any spots. Tyler Justice jumped up to 6th. And actually, I say that, by the way, and Michael Reddick is not in the chase. Christopher Matthews is 7th. Jesse Gavey is 8th. Is that right? Yeah. Tyler Cox is 9th, and Michael Redding is in 10th. Michael Redding is only currently 4 points ahead of Jonathan Smith. We talked last week, Jesse, about who do you think the most impressive driver that you've seen so far, and I think both of you and Joe both mentioned Robert Land. How do you feel about that after this week, being Robert Land wasn't here? I mean, are you still leaning his way, or have you changed your mind about who most impresses you?
Right now, I'm kind of on the fence about it, but we've had we had, I think, 3 or 4 new guys come in, and they've shown quite a bit of speed. And, I mean, we haven't really had the weather to show skill. I mean, I keep bringing that up a little bit tonight, but I think we'll really see what the drivers can do, not this coming week, but the week after when we go to Pocono.
Derek, who most impresses you? You can't use yourself, but who most impresses you right now out of everybody that's in CFR?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Honestly, it's been Kyle Charpentier. I think honestly, he's been one of those guys that I think can make a run for the championship this year. In all honesty, I mean, from when I can tell, I mean, he's been running, I think, inside the top 5 for almost every single race this season that I can remember off the top of my head. Now, of course, he doesn't finish inside the top 5, I don't think, but he runs around that top 5 all race long, and just he has a little bit of problem, I think, finishing. But I think that, as time gets closer and crunch time starts coming, I think he'll start to, really push it through, and I think, honestly, he could have a shot at maybe taking his title. There's
a couple people that I'm really impressed with. Kyle's one of them, but I'm still going to go with Mike Bruno. I think, he's on top for a reason, and he's also a series champion for a reason. But Kyle Charpentier is definitely up there. Mike Bruno got 3 top 5s right now, 4 top 10s. However, Kyle Charpentier has 5 top 5s and 5 top 10s, or all top 10s since, top 5s count. So, I mean, you got to give him a little bit of credit with that. But looking at, incidences and stuff like that, actually looking at the incidences, Robert Land is one of the lowest, and then it is Joe Burchett and Kyle Charpentier. And then AJ Brissett's up there. So, yeah, I mean, it varies from a lot of people. But, yeah, all in all, I think, Mike Bruno, Kyle Charpentier is a really good one. I've been impressed with John Kelly the last couple of weeks. You all feel the same?
No, definitely.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I mean, he started
his
career high start of actually 3rd place yesterday, since he qualified 4th, but where Tyler had to drop to the end. He didn't that was his career best start. He has led a couple laps this season. Honestly, how many laps has he led? I don't see it at the moment, but yeah, I'm impressed with him. I also got to give a shout out to Ramon Clark, who made his return back last week. I don't think he's going to make the chase unless he really goes on a big win streak. I mean, he's 136 out of the lead. That's almost impossible. I'm not saying he can't do it, but, it's good to see him back and actually not having any kind of connection issues. So, but that's going to do it. Anybody else got anything to say? Final thoughts on everything?
See y'all in Pocono, honestly. I mean, it'll be a good one. I mean, I think it'll be a lot better than what it was last night.
Yeah, I agree. Jesse, what's your thoughts? You agree with that?
Yeah.
You got final thoughts on anything else?
No, not really. I'm just looking forward to finally getting into some more racing style tracks and some hotter weather.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys, thanks for watching. As always, this is sponsored by the Living Aquarium. You can see it popping up on your screen right now. And that's going to do it. We'll be back here next Monday. We'll continue our podcast then. We won't be talking about next week's race because, well, there ain't one this week. So, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you all here soon. Be sure to check out CFRleague.com as well as on Facebook, CFR Championship, for more information and stuff like that. We'll talk to you all soon. God bless.
It comes away again, I can't control it. Hiding under the